Welcome back to our deep dive into the Samkhya Karika. So we've traced the entire manifest world back to its source, Prakriti, and we've established the reality of that pure, conscious witness, Purusha. Last time, we were introduced to the linga, or the subtle body, that amazing vehicle that carries us on our karmic journey. Today, with Kartikas 41 to 48, we're popping open the hood to see how this vehicle actually works. What makes it go, what kind of fuel it uses, and how it creates the very reality it drives through. To get our heads around this, we're going to use a really cool metaphor for the whole explainer. Just think of the subtle body as an actor on a journey through the grand play of existence. So first, we'll reintroduce our main actor. Then we'll look at the stage it needs to even perform. From there, we'll check out the different roles it plays, the internal script that tells it what to do, and the very nature of the play itself, which, as we'll see, Samkhya calls a creation of ignorance. And finally, we'll get to the big question. What does it really mean to step off the stage for good? All right, first things first, let's get reacquainted with our main character. As we saw last time in Karika 40, Samkhya proposes this subtle entity that carries our deepest tendencies, our karmic baggage, from one life to the next. Now, it's absolutely crucial to remember this is not the soul, it's not Purusha. It's more like a psychical hard drive, built from nature's most refined materials. This is our transmigrating actor, and it's at the very heart of today's story. And here it is, the linga. The subtle body. It's this incredible combination of the intellect, the buddhi, the ego, ahankara, the mind, manas, and the 5 subtle elements, the tanmatras. This is the vehicle that travels through the long road of samsara, carrying the blueprints of our actions. But here is the absolute key, and it's a big one. This actor can't just perform in an empty void. It needs a stage. And that brings us right to our first karika for today. So just like any actor needs a stage and some props to work with, the subtle body isn't some free-floating, self-sufficient ghost. It's dependent on other things. And Karika 41 uses 2 really powerful, really clear analogies to make this point. Let's listen to this Sanskrit. Chitram yathashrayamrati standvadibhyo yatha vina chhayam tadvad vina visheshaihi natishtati nirashrayam lingam. 41. And the translation is pretty direct. As a picture needs a support and a shadow needs a post, so the subtle body cannot subsist without supports and the non-specifics. So right away, the verse is telling us about 2 fundamental dependencies. Let's just quickly break this down. A painting, chitram, is literally nothing without a surface to be on. It's ashraya, or support. And a shadow, a chaya, well, it's completely dependent on an object casting it, right? It has no existence of its own. In exactly the same way, the subtle body, our linga, is not independent. It needs the avishesha, those subtle potentials of sound, touch, sight, taste, and smell, as its underlying support, its stage. And this packs a real philosophical punch. By really insisting on the linga's dependence, Samkhya drives home its core dualism. The linga is a product of Prakriti, of nature. It might be incredibly subtle, but it's still part of this vast interconnected web of cause and effect. Only Purusha, pure consciousness, is truly independent, the silent witness that needs no support whatsoever. Okay, so if our actor, the subtle body, needs a stage made of these subtle elements, what exactly does it do on that stage? What kind of roles does it play? This is where Karika 42 comes in and gives us this unforgettable metaphor for the whole process of rebirth. Listen closely to this one. Purushartha hetukam idam nimitta naimittika prasangena prakritir vibhutvayogat natavat vyavatishthate lingam. For the sake of Purusha, the subtle body assumes roles like an actor, that's the word natavat, through causal associations, under Prakriti's pervasive power. That one word, natavat, is the absolute heart of the metaphor. It means like an actor. So the very same subtle body, our linga, puts on all these different costumes, different physical bodies, different life circumstances from one lifetime to the next. It could play the part of a king, then a pauper, a human, then an animal. But these roles aren't random. Oh no, they're totally dictated by the law of karma. And this entire cosmic drama, the whole show, is ultimately staged for the sake of Purusha, for its experience and eventually its final liberation. So if the subtle body is an actor playing all these different roles, what dictates the performance? What's its script? Karikas 43 through 45 tell us that the script is written by our bhavas, are deep-seated psychological and moral dispositions. Samsiddhikascha bhavaha prakritika vaikritikascha dharmadhyaha drishtaha karanashrenaha karyashrenahascha kalaladhyaha. 43. Now, this verse makes a really critical distinction. The dispositions, the bhavas, things like virtue, vice, and so on, they reside in the instruments, specifically the buddhi. But the physical stuff, like the embryo, that resides in the effects, the gross body. So to put it simply, the script is internal, the costume is external. So what exactly are these bhavas? Well, you can think of them as the deep-seated tendencies that color our entire existence. They're like the source code for our personality and, in a way, for our destiny. And they don't reside in the brain or the physical body, but in the buddhi, the highest faculty of our inner world. They can be innate, carried over from past lives, natural, just part of our fundamental makeup, or acquired through the actions we take right here and now. These are the real drivers of our actor's journey. The next two verses, Karikas 44 and 45, are the ones that lay out the script in perfect detail, defining the consequences of these 8 core dispositions. First, Karika 44 says, Dharmana ganamam udvam, ganamam adhastad, bhavyad dharmana, janina chapavargo, viparyad ishyate bandaha. This means, through virtue you go up, through vice you go down. Through knowledge you get liberation, from its opposite, ignorance, you get bondage. It's that simple. Then Karika 45 follows up, Vairagyat prakriti laya, samsaro bhavati rajasad ragat, aishwaryad avigato, viparyad tadviparyasa, which translates to, from dispassion, you can get absorbed back into prakriti, but transmigration, the cycle of rebirth, comes from passionate attachment. From power comes non-obstruction, and from its opposite, you get obstruction. These two verses together are basically the engine of karma, mapping perfectly onto the table you see here, and they define the central conflict in our actor's story, the path to freedom through knowledge versus the endless cycle of bondage through ignorance. Okay, so this brings us to the play itself. If our actor is guided by this script of dispositions, and ignorance is the thing that leads to bondage, what does that play actually look like? Well, Karika 46 gives it a name, the Pratyaya Sarga, or the intellective creation. It's a world created not from physical matter, but from the mind itself. The Pratyaya Sarga is not about some creator god making the universe. No. This is all about how our own intellect, when it's clouded by ignorance, creates the experienced reality we live in. It's a world built on misidentification, on attachments, on mistaken beliefs. So in a very, very real sense, the play our actor is performing in is a play of its own making, a self-created drama of delusion. Now, this is just a perfect example of the systematic Samkhya mind at work. Ignorance isn't just some vague concept. Karika 46 gives us a detailed taxonomy, a classification system. The verse goes, Esha pratyaya sargo viparyaya shaktitushti siddhyakyah, gunavaishamya vimardats trasya chabedas tu panchashat. This means that this intellective creation is named for its 4 main components: error, incapacity, contentment, and attainment. And that because of the way the gunas mix and churn, it has 50 different subdivisions. The 4 main categories you see here are the basic building blocks of that diluted reality we create for ourselves. Karikas 47 and 48 then start to unpack these categories, and they begin with the most fundamental one: error, or viparyaya. Karika 47 details the subtypes. Bhedas tamasoshtavido mohasacha dashavido mahamoha. Tamisroshta dashathat abhavatyantata. Now, this verse explains that these 5 core errors, which later commentaries link to all the root causes of suffering, are themselves subdivided into even more types. But the 5 main ones you see here, from basic obscurity to delusion about who we are, all the way to the gloom and rage that come from frustrated desires, these are the very foundation of the play of ignorance. All right, let's bring the curtain down and connect all these amazing pieces. We have our actor, we have the stage, we've read the script, and we've seen the play itself. So how does Samkhya use this whole framework to explain our existence? Here's the whole system summed up in our metaphor. The linga, our subtle body, is the actor. It travels from life to life, taking on all these different roles or embodiments. The script it's following is written by the bhavas, those deep-seated dispositions baked into its own intellect. And the entire play, the whole production, is the Pratyaya Sarga, an experienced reality constructed out of its own fundamental ignorance. And here is the ultimate takeaway. The philosophical mic drop. The solution is not to get a better role in the next life. It's not about becoming a king instead of a pauper. The entire goal of Samkhya is to realize that you are not the actor at all. Ultimate liberation, kaivalya, comes from that profound, earth-shattering knowledge that your true identity is Purusha, the silent, conscious witness who is just watching the play, completely separate from the performance. And this leaves us with a really powerful question to reflect on. We've seen how the actor is bound by its script, how it performs in a play of its own making. And we've seen that the only way out is to realize we are the audience, not the performer. So, if our inner world truly is this play of ignorance, what does it actually take to finally see through the illusion, to drop the script, and to step off the stage for good? We are getting so close to the end of our journey through this incredible text. If this explainer helped you understand the intricate mechanics of transmigration in Samkhya, please do give it a like, share it with anyone else who might find it interesting, and definitely leave a comment with your thoughts. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our final installment, where we are going to explore the path to liberation in full. Thanks so much for watching.